Hey guys, GGESA Bam here, and welcome to an episode of Dair Down ARMS Edition. And we're going to be starting us off hot on Nintendo's latest title. It's been super huge. The fighting game community is super excited about it. The people are super excited about it. And one of the people in particular already showcasing himself to be one of the best analysts out there as far as this game is concerned. I have my friend Austy on mic. Austy, what is going on, man? How are you doing?
Dude, I'm doing great, Bam. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm great. You know, and I know, like, we've both been super hyped for this game, and so I'm just excited that it's out there and we can actually play this thing. We have it in our hands, and we can actually start building this metagame.
Well, it's crazy because it's been out for about 2 or 3 weeks for certain people that had got their hands on it a little bit earlier, thanks to the Nintendo program. But then now it's finally open to the public as of a week ago. I finally own it, and I'm playing it at my house. And I'm having a blast. I've been playing it every day. I don't get tired of it. It's only been out less than a week, so who knows? But right now, I see a lot of potential future for the game.
Yeah, I know. I definitely agree, man. I think that it was cool that they were able to open it off just big with the open invitational that they had at E3. I mean, I think that a lot of people they really wanted to see where this game could go. They're like, oh, okay, this game's fun. We know that it is fun. Nintendo, usually when they really put, are hard at work or something, it's going to be fun. But can this go to the next step? Can this actually be competitive? We saw, during E3, we saw Nintendo Versus, something that's also really new, tweeting out a lot of this stuff that's been super cool, kind of showcasing that Nintendo definitely intends to go that direction, but everyone wants to see if the product can actually do so. And I just want to talk about a little bit about that, because of course we had a mutual friend, Zerk, who actually ended up winning the Open Invitational. Shout out to that guy. I'm mad. If we were,
I was tight. I beat Zerk all the time, and then he won it.
Me too. Yeah. Zerk asked me for information on how to deal with certain characters as well. So it was kind of bittersweet seeing him up there. Yeah, but I'm happy that he was up there so he can show kind of a little glimpse of stuff that was going on in the game. But he kind of breezed through a lot of people for the most part. You even saw him on stage. He was shouting 3-0 to people. You saw that he thought once he was on stage, there was really no one who was going to stop him. And no one did. He actually blew everyone up and he won that championship. But then something happened.
What happened, Bam?
Something happened. Mr. Ibuki walks up with the belt and says, but wait a minute. You got one more battle, man. And he literally got jammed. He got jammed. Ibuki jammed him. And let's talk about that, because it wasn't just that he got beat, but the way that we saw Ibuki beat him was in a way that I think not just for people who are at home, casual, who are kind of on the fence to see if this game can be competitive, but also for you and I, who were people kind of been seeing some things, had some kind of theories that were out there before, to actually see it at the point where it's okay, some of these theories are true and they're being confirmed right here, right now, before we even get the game in our own hands by the producer, man. How sick is that to see some of the stuff that he was doing?
It was really fun to watch the the final sets of that tournament with Mr. Ibuki, because he demonstrated some stuff that we've never seen before. I would play the game for weeks beforehand, playing D1's copy or Smash Studios' copy, because they had it at tournaments. We played on a local level, and we were having fun discovering stuff. And then Mr. Ibuki just kind of blew all of that up out of the water, demonstrating how far the game can go. And that actually made me excited. I think it made a lot of people excited. I don't know how many times I saw a tweet or someone commenting about, I had no interest in ARMS until I saw Mr. Ibuki play. And that's saying something. I feel like Mr. Ibuki himself playing that match sold some copies, because he was demonstrating tech. He would call it the Mr. Ibuki combo, when you throw someone onto a spring and then rush them while they're still in hit stun.
Yeah, it's so good. And I agree, dude. He definitely sold some copies by himself. That's so sick that he was just able to single-handedly do that. And it's cool.
My favorite thing about that thing about that entire thing was when he avoided a rush. Zerk threw out a rush when he was as Min, and as Min, Mr. Ibuki jumped over it, used his air dash, got onto the trampoline, used the trampoline and jump over it again, landed on the ground, and landed a grab. And I was just blown away by that, because he had so much control. Using motion controls, no less.
Exactly.
No one else was really using motion controls, besides Zerk, obviously, and the rest of the people in that tournament. I'm using a gamepad myself.
Right.
And he demonstrated that, hey, you can use this with motion if you want. The Joy-Cons are just fine.
Yeah, and that was definitely telling, because, already And I think, honestly, I still believe this to a certain extent, that when you're looking at the battle of Joy-Cons versus the Pro Controller, I think a lot of people are like, oh, okay, well, I think that I believe that Pro Controller usually has better movement and you have better precision, arm precision and stuff in terms of using the Joy-Cons. And it was crazy because the level of movement that we saw from Mr. Ibuki, whether it was his Min-Min, whether it's his Twin Tail, it really showed that even though you may see some beginner advantages versus like in terms of Joy-Con versus Pro Controller, once you master, once you get at a level where you're very confident at the game as a whole, you can move whether you're on a Joy-Con and you can have precision whether you're on a Pro Controller, etc. And what he showed there was so good, man. Like it's crazy because I myself have tried to do, like one time I was able to get a shock with the Thunderbird because I was, of course, I main Twin Tail, and I was able to get that shock, and then I got a grab, and then I tried to do a super afterwards, and I got one clip of the super, didn't get the entire thing, and I was like, damn, man, like this is actually be something. And the way that he did it, and even like his timing was so good too, because the moment he waited, he didn't just throw it out instantly. He waited right when the character bounces off the spring, right? And then he gets that juggle state. The moment he saw that, he activated. And that already showed like, man, this guy knows. He made the game and he knows how to play the game. And that's always a nice
Spring
thing.
Stadium's his favorite stage, I'm sure.
Yeah. It was just like, it was so good. It was just so damn good. So moving from that too, we have, now that everyone has it in their hands, we have ARMS Saga that's going to be coming up. And of course, you're going to be there. And we have a lot of people are looking at this like, okay, now that it's still obviously Nintendo's baby, but now it's out in the public. What are these communities going to do with it? What is the FGC going to do with it? What is the Smash community going to do with it? And a lot of people are looking at ARMS Saga to see how it's going to happen. So what do you think in terms of moving forward, like in terms of what we need to be looking at, whether we are talking about stage list, just general how we should play, how it should be set up to make a nice tournament environment?
Well, we need to think about how. So first off, Nintendo has a way of like what they think competitive play should be. They introduced a ranked mode for ARMS. If you jump into the online mode, you have a rank. You go up or down based on if you win or lose. And that rule set includes random stages between the 10 already default stages. They're introducing 11 stage in the next patch or something. Mm-hmm. But after that, like they allow custom arms. So you unlock arms by using the Get Arm Grabber. And you can also upgrade your arms, and that lets you have full customizability while playing online in ranked. So a lot of people want customized arms in tournament play. There are a couple of pros and cons between doing that and going to the default arms. Now, my understanding is that it's pretty much impossible, as of right now, to have in a tournament, local tournament setting, to have customized arms, because the only way that would be is if you had multiple switches that everything unlocked, which would be near impossible this early on, or even in the future. I mean, we went through this with Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U when you're trying to unlock customs for every single system. It was just not possible sometimes. And I believe that the switches, maybe sometime down the line, they'll introduce another mode for like LAN play. So a lot of people want to bring their own switches or something like that to play like in the tournament setting, and they just play like in handheld mode, or they bring their dock and plug into a TV. But that doesn't allow you the customization that offline versus has. You're limited to this little lobby that's best 1 of 1 rounds. So it's not best 2 of 3 rounds. So you don't there's no more technique in carrying a rush from round 1 to round 2 or round 2 to round 3. And kind of stagnates it a little bit. So right now, until Nintendo does something about that, we're probably going to be limited to split screen on one system, unless they introduce a spectator mode, which helps out a huge ton. And it's probably going to be default arms in the beginning. I also, even if we did have access to all of the arms on one system, I would still be a fan of the default signature arms, because it's so early on in the game's lifespan that there's no way everyone has every arm unlocked except for like a select few, and there's no way they have been able to lab it yet. With so many arms and so many customizations, it's hard to be able to practice against certain setups. Like there's literally over 10,000 different combinations with the 10 different characters, 30 different arms.
Yep.
All that combined, it just becomes almost near infinite.
Yeah. No, yeah, I definitely agree. You bring up a very good point. I think that a lot of people right now, they're not looking at that. Some people I know that are afraid that because we've already seen some, obviously we had at the Arms Invitational, we had Zerk who was able to win, but we also had, in terms of casting, we had obviously a D1 who's on Twitch side as well. And then of course we had Vicky Kitty who was up there. And these two are not just great casters in their own right, but they're known as, you know, greater parts of the Smash community. So I do know that there's a lot of people right now who are kind of worried where that they think that Smash is essentially going to take in Arms and it's going to be theirs versus other kind of parties just who want to be set on doing exclusively Arms. Also want to have some ideas in terms of how they can build the community. And I think a lot of that has come between kind of the battle between Arms versus Arm Plus. And I agree. You know, right now it's an issue because you need to understand that, yeah, some people will be like, oh, I think this game's exponentially more enjoyable when you have like all the arms at your disposal, which could be true. But at the same time, we do need to recognize that you need to look at tournament logistics. And that's simply not going to be possible right now. And even moving forward, what are we going to do around Arms Plus? And unless that we see a major shift from Nintendo, if we see that come into a later patch, then right now it seems like there's literally no other reason for us to do anything but to do default Arms and, like you said, go split screen. I can tell you right now from experience that just had a tournament right now at Wednesday Night Fights. Wednesday Night Fights is a tournament that we have, series that we have here that's done by Level Up Live. It happens here in the Esports arena, and we did local battle, and I can tell you local battle right now is trash. I can tell you that.
But
right
you guys
now.
actually went through with that?
Yes.
I thought they convinced them to do split screen.
No, they wanted to check it. They wanted to check everything to see what we can do because a lot of people were like, oh, well, we want to have the head-to-head because we want to be able to see all the arms. You want to see the movement, the weaving of the arms.
You can see that in split screen.
No, I agree. But some people feel like they wanted to see more clarity. So it's like, all right, well, we'll go. It's a testing round, you know. Let's see what happens. And like you said, man, when you have only one round and then you go back into you have to go back into the lobby mode, and then once you go back in the lobby, then you go back in, it elongates sets so damn long. And it's
what did you guys do, like a first to 10 coins or something?
Yeah, they did that. So like it was just, but even then you go back out, so you might as well do a first of one because of how it sets up. Like it always, you have to go back out and then go back in anyways. And so
right,
it was pretty absurd, and it took a very, very long time to actually get that done. And we also had issues with certain desyncs and stuff as well. And it was to the point where people were playing and I was playing someone and literally I grabbed them. My grab went right through them. And I was like, maybe it got broke at the last second. And then they fly over to the right. I fly over to the left. I grab behind myself somehow. And all of a sudden they're in my arms. And I was literally Magneto. Like it was literally I just grabbed them up and tossed them aside. I'm like, okay, there's no way.
It was like playing on an internet connection, like a lag.
Exactly. Yeah, it was like playing on 56K. That's what.
Now I don't know if this was confirmed or not, but I believe in LAN, if you have the Ethernet, you can connect a switch to another switch. But I don't know if that's actually true. I've yet to test it. Because if that's the case, like that could be a solution, but that would require a lot of LAN adapters. And maybe like I know a lot of people want to do split screen for all the setups, so that you save this amount of switches you can have, and then like finals or like not finals, but on the stream is the head-to-head.
Absolutely. I think that I can speak right now for GG Gaming and Esports Arena. I think that's what we're looking at to do. And if that is a setup, if that is a possible setup where you can actually go ahead and link everything through a LAN adapter, then that would be absolutely incredible. Because in that kind of scenario now, then we can actually have a head-to-head, everyone can see everything, and especially if that beautiful patch that Nintendo is already talking about, the spectator mode, if that comes out.
Coming out this month.
Yeah, man. I mean, that comes out, that's going to be really, really nice, and that's going to be extremely helpful in terms of showcasing the game to a wider audience, you know, to all the online viewers. So I do think that's going to be a good thing, and I do hope that happens. But let's talk about stages, man. Let's get into nitty gritty, because I know we're always big about stages in Smash. You have certain games that, for the most part, all the stages are essentially the same. So unless they have something where they kind of block things, like on Street Fighter, you have Karin's stage where you have the water, the beach, and you can't do that, because you can't see literally if someone's trying to do footsies, you can't see it because their feet are under the water, or their punches are under the water, so that doesn't work, right? And in Tekken, they do random stages, but there's certain stages that don't have walls, some stages that do, and so that also causes concerns. So what do you think in terms of where we're at right now? Obviously, I have my own opinions on some of these things, but where do you think we stand in terms of the stage list for ARMS?
So I haven't really played that much of the new Tekken yet, so I haven't looked at the stage list, so I don't know how to compare to it. But from my understanding, I've played Soul Calibur in the past, and they also did random stages. And the only difference was, as you said, if there's walls or not. And I don't know if that's that big of a concern for those players. Maybe there's a debate over there. But in ARMS, I feel like every stage is completely different from each other, and relying singularly on random to decide your fate is probably the incorrect way to go about it.
Yeah.
So I'm one to propose for having starters and counter picks, just like Smash has, because there's characters that benefits from certain stages. For instance, on Cinema 2, Ribbon Girl rocks that stage. She can jump off the cars. A lot of people that are ground based or get stuck between the cars, like Bite and Bark. Bark is completely worthless on that stage, so it's a good counter pick against him. Yeah. So imagine playing random and you're Bite and Bark and you get Cinema Do twice in a row, then you're done for.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. It's like I was telling you earlier when we were talking, I was able to play someone on Spring Stadium playing against a Ribbon Girl, and I literally could not touch them. I literally could not touch them. They were able to kind of lay back and just kind of aerial camp. And it was a solid strategy. It was a very patient strategy, and there's certain things, little holes that I saw where I can get some punches in, but ultimately it was pretty airtight, and they were actually able to beat me. I do believe that person actually went on to actually win the tournament yesterday at Wednesday Night Fights. So that kind of showcases, you're going to see that certain stages are obviously going to be better for certain characters, especially some of these characters where there's such a discrepancy between certain characters in terms of their aerial mobility and versus certain ARMS or certain other mechanics that they have. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. I do believe that there's going to be there should be starters and there should be counter picks right now. And then I think that there's certain stages already that we can see that probably wouldn't be the best for competitive play. One off the bat, you already know what I'm talking about. Damn Snake Park, dude.
Snake Park, man. I'm one of those advocates, fam, about always wanting to use stages. We test them in tournament, innocent until proven guilty. That's how we did it with the Smash stage list.
I like it, yeah.
But Snake Park, man, Snake Park is so completely different, drastically different from the rest of the stage list. It requires you to jump on these little snake boards, or what they're called, the Beyblades, if you will. And you just surf across the entire stage, and it completely changes up how slow characters can now move really quick. Ribbon Girl kind of becomes obsolete because she can't really double jump. But then again, it's a really big stage, and it promotes timeouts, so Ribbon Girl can actually benefit from just jumping all over the place, especially with the Slap-A-Manders, which cover such a wide range on the stage. I feel like the stage also promotes camping. It's a big stage. I might see a little bit more of timeouts, and all. The general public pretty much doesn't like the stage. I have yet to see a single person that generally thinks that stage should be legal.
Yeah.
So, from all types of music, Discord, the ARMS Discord that's out there right now, a lot of them don't like Snake Park. A lot of my close friends that play ARMS don't like Snake Park. People on Twitter don't like Snake Park. If you look at that poll that 2GG put out, Snake Park had a 90% ban rate or something.
Yeah.
It's pretty common. I think Snake Park's going to be banned for ARMS Saga.
Yeah. I think that's definitely one of those stages that's kind of thrown in there just kind of to be fun, kind of party mode-esque. I don't think that it has a place in competitive play. So I know that as far as 2G is concerned in terms of ARMS Saga, don't think we're going to see that stage. And but there's some other stages that people are talking about, and people want to kind of test out and see if they're going to work. Obviously, you have some people think that Ramen Ball, they think that may be an issue. Ninja College as well. Of course, that's going to be like the staircase kind of stage. They think that maybe it's like too long. Again, a lot of people are kind of concerned, it seems, about kind of camping happening. And what are your thoughts about that going into this game? It's a very new game, and I do believe that if you're looking at an early meta, it is always going to promote defensive play. You're going to look at people who are playing slower, more patient. They're going to do things that they know. If they don't know it, if they see things that are confusing, which is going to happen because it's a new game, they're going to stay away from it, right? That's the best way to deal with it. If you don't know, then you stay away from what you don't know. That is literally a fundamental fact of humanity. That's just what we do.
There's like stages to it, you know? Like stage 1 is grabs beat everything. And that's exactly what we saw in like the very beginning, is that everyone thought this was grabs the game. Everyone was landing grabs, and grabs were OP. People learn to do grabs. This happens in every fighting game. The second stage is what you just said, the defensive play, because we don't know. We're afraid of what we don't know, so we don't want to risk it. We don't want to. Why risk it when we can try to play as defensive as possible? Everything's so unknown. So that's the current stage that ARMS is in, is the defensive stage. I'm sure give it like a month, maybe 2 months, and people will start to be a little bit more aggressive. I've been watching some Twitch.tv streams of ranked 15 players, by the way, which is the max rank, 15. Right. They're playing super aggressive. They're getting in their opponent's face and like speeding all over the place. So people are starting to learn how to be a little bit more aggressive, even if it's with custom arms. But for the stages, so like you mentioned the stages already, Ninja College and Ramen Bowl. Cinema Dough is also another stage that people aren't particularly a fan of. Yeah. And those are like the 3 stages that are kind of like, should we make them a counter pick? Should we ban them? Honestly, it's kind of disheartening that the first big tournament for this game is going to be like a major size, you know, at ARMS Saga, because it would have been nice to have like smaller tournaments to test out stages before we moved into it, besides just going off of a small circle of pool of people playing like in local setting or LAN mode or online with friends or in ranked mode, and forming their opinions based off that, instead of actually sitting down one-on-one with money on the line, with getting the fear of getting knocked into losers on the line with those stages legal. Yeah. So I would say, honestly, to keep all 3 of those stages as counter picks just for the first tournament, see what happens in those tournaments. Hopefully not too much camping happens, but it still might happen. I know a lot of my colleagues are super against it. People don't like Ninja College because it's a big open space, allows for you to just kind of back off. It also has the disadvantage RNG where someone spawns at the top and someone spawns at the bottom. So maybe I would be okay with banning Ninja College, even though I love Ninja College. It's one of my favorite stages. I'd be really mad if it got banned, but I could get behind it if we ended up banning it. Then there's Ramen Bowl, which is, I don't know, this stage is so weird because like at first glance, it looks like a starter. It looks like a very basic neutral stage. Yeah, it does. And then you realize that dip is so terrible. Like if you're above someone, you have all the advantage. It's so hard to like get in on someone unless you're like Kid Cobra can just slide underneath and get a grab. Yeah. Another stage that also promotes camping because you can just like camp around the entire circle of the bowl while your opponent's like in the middle. Like it's very rare that both opponents are going to be on the same level of field, like on the top or both in the bottom. It's usually one person's on top, one person's on the bottom at all times. Yeah. So that stage is kind of in question currently. And then the last stage is Cinema Deux because of the way that Ribbon Girl just kind of demands that stage. Now, if I had to ban 2 of those stages and keep one, I would definitely keep Cinema Deux as a counter pick because I think that is a super counter pick stage. People that love air mobility, love jumping, would thrive on that stage. Grounded people don't like that stage. So if you're like a grounded character, like Bite and Bark, you know, ban the stage and then we're done. You don't have to, or strike the stage, I'm sorry, in a tournament set, and then you don't have to go there. Right. And so those are like the 3 stages that are pretty much being talked about. Scrapyard seems fine to me. I don't see the big issue with Scrapyard. It does have the whole little kind of like a circle. Someone can go up to the top, someone can go on the bottom, but a lot of the time, both players are at the bottom of the stage. But I would put that in the Scrapyard. So that kind of leaves the other 5 stages for starters. I would say Spring Stadium or Ribbon Ring, Mausoleum, Buster Beach, and DNA Lab are pretty much safe to be starters. Yeah, but I want to get more thoughts from other players, from other peers, from the community itself on what they think the stage list should be. Yeah, and I think that's the kind of end point here too, right? Where it's a new game, it's a new meta. We want everyone to talk. We want everyone to experiment. Like this is the age of
experimenting, right? That's where we're at right now. And we need to start looking at these things. Yes, we can kind of play with a safe bet. I think it's a safe bet going with those starters and those counter picks. And for now, and because those stages are things where they're on, like I would say our counter picks right now are on our kind of concerned list, right? And so stages that we want to see what they can do, want to see if they have a space in competitive gaming or not. And I think that's a good way to go about it. Just having them as counter picks, seeing what happens, see how much they influence the general pace and turning of some of these sets. But overall, I think that we need to look at one another and say, okay, what have you experienced? What have I experienced? Let's take all that data down and move forward. Yes, we need to get some data. We do have some people who are pushing for data out there right now. Obviously, we have in the Discord that you mentioned. Of course, on Reddit, you can go there too. ARMS, you also been really great in terms of actually putting out some information out there, along with D1. I know Coney has someone who's really got excited about the game and has really been playing a lot too, and really eager to kind of have these conversations with people. And just a multitude of individuals. Even the One Smash, who, for those of you who don't know, OneSmash.net, these guys have put together a huge database of just traps, techniques, and stuff like that have been learned through Smash 4. They've actually made a ARMS exclusive website right now that they're doing, and they have a Twitter for it called 2ARMS, and that right now is, they got some good stuff on there. You know, some good stuff.
It only has like 300 followers. I'm trying to like spread the word because that's a really good account if you're trying to jump into ARMS.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I know the guy's a Kirby kid. I've worked with him before. Him and I tend to have long talks and stuff about analyzing Smash, and of course now ARMS as well. And so he's someone who's really going to be looking at all the little nuances. You know, some of the ones that maybe the casual player, or even some of the competitor players, are not really going to notice. And he's trying to take all that data and put it out there, make it easily accessible for everyone so people can learn what's going on. So I'm really super excited about that. And I'm super excited to see how everyone's going to grow in this game. Like, this game is so damn fun. Like, I've really been having a wonderful time with it. I think the concept is genius. And I think even the characters, how they are, the personality that they have. It's funny sometimes because you know, people talk about like Overwatch, right? And they talk about why Overwatch is so exciting, why people are pulled in. And it really comes down to how some of these characters and personalities shine for a game that's essentially a first-person shooter. And that's kind of what really Nintendo was able to achieve with ARMS. Like, you have these characters that kind of ooze personality, and it's something that seems like really simple, very intuitive to pick up. And at the end of the day, right now, we already can see, as we're talking about right now, there is some competitive mileage in this thing, and that's what people are really excited about. I was talking to Vaya about it on the floor at Wednesday Night Fights. I was talking to some of the other players there too. The FGC is actually really excited about it. They want to do some stuff, so this may actually be kind of a meeting place for some of the more casual audience who are, for the first time, kind of being introduced to competitive gaming through ARMS, the Smash community, and then, of course, also the traditional FGC. So having them kind of all come together under this banner of ARMS, I think is super sick. And I'm really excited to see where everyone's going to take it. So what are your thoughts going on to, in terms of like these characters? Like, what characters are you really excited about in terms of like their future progression? And actually, you know, let's start off with that. I want to hear what you think. What characters are you looking at that you want to see like move forward, where potentially you could see their meta game kind of going?
So right now, according to ranked anyways, the top characters that are probably seeing most success are like Twintel, Min Min, Ripping Girl, and Kid Cobra. And what all four of those characters have in common is that they all have movements. They can move, whether it be in the air, on the ground, what have you. They just have so much mobility. And I think the reason they're so successful this early on in the metagame is people are still figuring out the game. They don't quite understand, how do I hit my opponents? You know, I feel like a lot of people are just kind of swinging randomly, but like, you know, swinging one arm, just throwing it out there, waiting for it to come back before swinging it again. That seems to be what's happening. I feel as the meta keeps evolving, people are going to learn how to hit the quick characters a lot better and get a more handle on them compared to, like, say, fighting against Master Mummy, who's very stationary character, very easy to hit. It's just about guessing if he's going to shield or not.
Yeah.
Characters I'm excited to see them at a grow form. Definitely. He's really good at catching rolls. He says his like smash instincts from Brawl kicked in,
Right.
and he's able to like tell when I'm going to go for a roll or if I'm going to jump every single time. He has the cracker at the ready to just like pound me out of existence, put me back on the ground. He's really good at tech chasing. So Bite and Bark is definitely like when he gets the upper hand, he lays on. But what Bite and Bark struggles with is when the opponent gets in and they start to steal the advantage. And when they're at a
Right.
disadvantage, they have a hard time struggling. So they're very one-sided, like depending on where they're at, especially with the help of Bark. You know, that's essentially almost 3 punches being thrown out there, covering so many different directions.
Yeah.
Helix is another character I'm really excited to see get shown some more meta, because right now, basically everyone says Helix with default signature arms is bad, terrible, trash. But what I think is that people don't know how to play Helix yet. People need to discover it. That character is weird. His movement's weird. His arms are weird. I think people just need to like. I'm waiting to see like this breakout Helix start doing some crazy stuff we've never seen before because of how unusual his arms are. Blorb bounces and is heavy, has a blind attribute. No other weapons like that really. Mine is the heavy size. Then you have the Guardian, another very unique weapon that no one else has. It throws out a shield. It takes up to 3 hits before it falls down, and you can also push the attack button a second time to send it forward and cause an electrical shock, leaving their opponent wide open for a grab, as long as the weapon's charged. And then you also have, what's his third arm? Glorb, Guardian, and Ice Dragon. That's what it is. Ice Dragon. That's not that unusual of an arm. It's just that's a kind of a keep away arm. You just want to chill back, throw out the beam. Min Min has a variant of that as well. She has the normal dragon, which is a fire attribute. So I feel like once a Helix discovers how to work all those arms in conjunction, as well as using his weird movement, such as his dash, which causes him to shrink to a height, as well as if you hold jump, he turns into like a string body and can swing back and forth to avoid attacks.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be crazy when we see that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, man. I think that Helix is a character that has a lot of possibility, but I think that already a lot of people are looking at the character. Some people have already written off the character as if he has default arms, he's trash, right?
Yeah, that is simply not true. I feel like every character has the potential to be someone if they have default arms.
I agree, and I do think that he's a character that people will have to learn. He's not going to be as intuitive, and I think that that's kind of just like a key attribute of his character. Like even his character design was like he's supposed to be odd. He shifts, he moves around. Like you said, he can duck in ways that no other character can do, right? And so I think it's interesting because of it. He can weave back and forth too, even with his jumps and stuff as well. He's just going to be a character that, as people get better in utilizing his movement in a way, I feel like he's going to be a character that's going to be almost like these other higher level characters that we've seen, at least for right now where we're at, where these quick characters, the movement, mobility. His mobility is different, but he has mobility nonetheless. And I think that once we kind of see that, yeah, he's definitely sneaky, without a doubt, man. So like once people get to a point where they recognize how to use that and how to be so evasive with him, then I think he's going to do a lot of big things. Even too, what I actually like about him, because of like things like Blore, because of things like Guardian, I do believe once people get better at pinning characters down and recognizing how to deal with jumps and stuff, I think that's also a certain space in which we're going to see Helix thrive more so, because now you have this character who can do more kind of micro spacing, and even though it's like a weird spacing, like his mobility is weird, it kind of reminds me of how Peach has this small micro spacing that she can do with the floats. So she's not dashing back and forth through the air or doing all these things, but she can do these little things so hits are going to slightly miss her, and then she's going to come back in and then be able to hit you. And so I think that from the Smash side of things, those are the kind of things that I see from Helix. And also because he has these heavy arms, because he has Guardians, I could see him maybe eventually being at a point where, depending on how you are with his grabs, he could be some kind of even like a grappler type of hybrid. And I can see that from him depending on how people learn how to utilize his mobility and stuff. But I definitely think he's going to be a super fun character. And I'm really excited to see what people are going to do with him as far as just his evasiveness and his just very like unorthodox movement. And Bite and Bark also is one as well, like you said. I think that character is super cool. I think that he's a character that also definitely is going to have some kind of learning curve. It's much more overt to kind of see where he could be going as far as his meta game and the techniques that people are going to be looking at. Obviously, people are going to be trying to figure out how they can, time things with Bark and stuff, and then having setups from there. Like you said, once you get those things down, then you can kind of have a very unique pressure that other characters can't do. Sometimes I think of the pressure that we're going to see from Bite and Barks later down the line is almost going to be kind of like what we see from Headlock, the final boss, right? Where he's like doing stuff and he's able to do these kind of grab and like punch mix-ups and all this kind of stuff because he just has extra arms technically because of Bark. So I think that's going to be really, really cool. And speaking of kind of like we're talking about Headlock right now, but let's talk about like Max Brass, dude. Like, what do you think about him, man? He's gonna be obviously the Nintendo's
He's
already
so
announced.
cool.
He's gonna be DLC. Like he's
said, so cool.
Yeah, he is cool. Someone said he's the equivalent. He's the male equivalent of Twintel. He's just like this machismo dude, right? And he's just like he just gets super hyped. Like, so what do you think about him? And also explain to our viewers exactly kind of his unique attributes, because Nintendo was able to go and talk a little about that as well.
Max Brass reminds me of like he's a showboater, like if you just play the Grand Prix at all and you beat the Grand Prix and you see the ending cutscene, he shows him just like flexing and smiling and making like really hype noises, kind of like similar to Captain Falcon in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of a more animated Captain Falcon, and a more happy Captain Falcon. He has the ability to turn. So what he does, from my understanding from playing against him in Grand Prix. He charges up by breathing in and puffs out his chest. And when that happens, his arms become charged for a while, as well as he gains the ability to not be flinched by normal attacks, similar to Master Mummy and Mechanica. And then eventually that wears off and he becomes a normal dude again. I think a lot of his potential, this is all just, I'm just guessing. I'm just philosophy. Basically, he has the ability to move around, possibly with the super armor and everything, but we'll have to see what happens. I know that below 25% health, he gets it for max as well. Like he gets the max rage, the max tough guy mode, where he doesn't get flinched or anything. And I want to like take a closer look at his arms as well from playing him in Grand Prix. It looks like he has a equivalent to the whammer that Mechanica has, except with a fire element.
Yeah,
that'll be good for like knocking down. It'll be the first heavy weapon that has the fire attribute. It also has, it looks like a glove with fire. I'm not sure. And then there was just a normal glove. I think I couldn't get that good of a look at the other two arms, but the fire whammer is the one that stood out to me the most.
Yeah, man. Like that one's gonna be pretty sick because I mean, like you said, it's a heavy with a fire attribute, which means like he's probably gonna do a ton of damage with that one. Also, what's cool is I believe that they were showing a little snippets of what Max Brass will be able to do, and again, I'll do some research as well, but I do believe that I saw something along the lines that he actually can do something kind of almost like Min Min, where he actually gets a permanent charge on his arms. So
that's when he's like puffs into his chest.
Exactly, right? So that's going to be super sick for him because can you imagine like you have fire whammer and like this guy's just going at you, this amount of damage he's going to be able to do. He's just like he's gonna have these like firefights. Like he just screams straight damage, dude. And he's gonna be a very cool brawler. I think he's someone that you just don't want him to be anywhere near you at all. And he's someone who has enough mobility there. So I think that he's gonna be someone who's gonna be really good in close quarters and gonna be one of the first kind of heavier characters that has like kind of decent mobility as well too, at least from what I've seen. So I think that's going to be the kind of cool thing about him. So I'm actually really excited for him. I think he's an awesome DLC. Again, Nintendo continuing the trend of having these characters that just ooze personality. I mean, what can you say about a guy, like you said before, like he's like the super Captain Falcon. Like what's not to love about that, right? So like
Nintendo has a way of just making you love the characters that you didn't previously know about. Like in Smash, it was pretty easy because they're all established IPs and characters, you know them. But like when they bring out new characters, for instance, an IP that comes to mind was Splatoon back in the day. Like you love the Inklings, you loved like how it was very colorful world with all the paint. But now that we have specific characters with names and personalities and backgrounds and history and everything, you just want to like you can't help but just fall in love with all of them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So like, oh man, it's good, and I'm really excited. I know they were talking about actually expanding the kind of the story and the mythos of ARMS as well. So I think that's going to be fun because again, people
Funny
want to know
story
these
about that.
characters. Yeah.
So Nintendo made a tweet or made a story or a statement. They got interviewed about the lore behind ARMS, and they said they pretty much what the direct said. They woke up one day and bam, extendable arms. And they said, we'll throw lore and story later on. We want to focus on the gameplay first and foremost. That's always a Nintendo classic. That was their main focus. They didn't care about the story. They didn't care about like the lore or anything. It's like, here are the characters. Here's what's quirky about them. Here's that they have expendable arms. We'll worry about the story later in future DLC.
Yeah, right. It's like so. It's like that's all they wanted. Like you said, did gameplay over everything. So, I mean, like I said, the game's fun. So I think that he got an A+ on that one. But yeah, dude. Like people want to know about these characters now. Like, and that's really cool. I think again to take these random characters that have never been in any like previous IPs and just now to everyone's so excited about them. Obviously, people are super excited about Twintel. Ribbon Girl. There's been the battle of the waifus and stuff and whatnot. A lot of people are all about this Master Mummy. It really speaks to a lot of the kind of bigger guys that I know that they love. Like, yeah, man, I'm Master Mummy all day. You know, they're about that. They love his style.
Dude. He's the Zangief of Street Fighter.
Yes, he's definitely, yeah. Without a doubt, he is the Geef, man. So it's cool to see that. It's cool that they're listening in people as well. I'm really excited about this Nintendo Versus, as I talked about a bit earlier, that they're actually tweeting out Smash and then they're pushing forward with ARMS and stuff too. I think that's super great because this is showing that there's a connection between this competitive community, not just in the game itself, but it's extending beyond the game. And that is going to push more people to be interested in reaching these type of events and enjoying the competitive space, which is an amazing space. It's very fun. Obviously, that's where you and I are doing work in, you know, so like we love that. And I think it's awesome. So I'm really, really excited to see what they're going to do between ARMS, between Nintendo Versus and everything. And it's, man, I'm so excited for ARMS Saga. And I'm just excited to see where this game goes. I can't wait either. Is there any lasting thoughts you want to give out in terms of ARMS and like what you see is going to be going on in this game?
I'm trying to think. There's some. We could talk more about characters if you want, or we could talk about the rules. Actually, there was one more rule I wanted to touch up on that we probably should address later on. Was how do we? So if we use default arms, right, and we're in the middle of a match, how do we decide selection of arms? Because it's not like Pokken or other games where if you choose an assist or something, your opponent doesn't know what you chose. But in arms, your opponent can clearly see what arm you're choosing for that particular round. So I see a lot of stalemates or people waiting to see what arms they select and selecting their arms, and a lot of disputes happening. So I'm wondering if there's going to be like a counter pick system for like in between rounds, or if you've won round one, then you have to pick your arms first, and the loser of round one has to pick their arms second. I kind of want to know your thoughts on that rule.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you mention that because I was talking to some people about that. I was talking to our mutual friend D1 about it sometime too, and he's talking about how he feels that the person who, whatever arms they pick for that match, they should be locked. So they actually should be locked in. Yeah, for I believe for like all the rounds of that match. So, you know, match, aka game. So you go, you play it out the rounds, the 2 out of 3 rounds, and after you do that, then obviously you get a point for the match. So I think that.
So you don't want anyone selecting arms at all throughout the entire game, correct?
Yeah, so
like they select their first arms, they're locked into that for their whole game.
So I think that's something that people have been talking about. Me personally, I think it's fine for people to be counter picking arms. I do think that. I feel my personal opinion is right now, because of how people are playing, the level that people have with certain arms, I think that people are going to be like, oh, okay, I will kind of counter pick because I know you're wearing lights, these heavies or whatever are going to go through these, so I'm going to play this, et cetera, et cetera. I think as people get more into their own and start kind of splintering off and expanding on their certain type of sets or like just what arms they want to be outfitted with. Like once they kind of get their own setups there, I do think that people are going to be less likely to kind of play that game. So that's why, my personal opinion, I'm fine with people going with the counter pick. I could see maybe in times that we're looking at is where someone could be, if you win this round, then you're locked, or you have to choose first. I could see that being a potential option in the future. But yeah,
that's the one I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of the loser picking their arms first.
Yeah.
The reason we talked before again with D1 about how mutual arm, or we should like lock their arms.
Right.
Because like, oh, they won. It's just like, Marvel or something. They lock their characters. But I'm actually against that because of certain stages. An example would be like, say you're playing on Scrapyard or DNA Lab, and you're playing Kid Cobra, and there's pillars. So you want to go double Slamamander because it goes around the pillars. You want to use curve weapons to go around the pillars. Right. And then all of a sudden, after round 1, the pillars are all broken. There's not that many left. So then for round 2, you want to go back to your normal outfit. Like maybe you want to go double Hydra or something because the pillars are gone. Yeah. So there's more than just trying to counterpick your character or your opponent. I mean, there's more to like the stage, because the stage changes as the game goes on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely true. And so, yeah, I could definitely see that in terms of like they're like not being locked. That counterpick strategy definitely would be employed. Not even just necessarily counterpick strategy, but you simply are, like you said, now that the stage has transformed, you're going to play with other arms that are better suited to whatever combat. That's outside of what your opponent's going to be picking. So again, I definitely see that, and that's why I do feel like the whole idea of being able to choose your arms there, I think it's good. I personally feel like it would be cool if anyone could just choose whatever arms that they want to at any time. I think that but with that in mind, I think that works well under the scope of default arms. I think now if you're looking at all the arms that are there,
that's a whole mess.
That's just a damn mess, and no one wants to deal with that. So
we'll cross that bridge when that topic comes up.
Exactly.
Have the ability to do that. But a cool rule that I thought about doing was like having an arms selection dispute. So basically, I think the rule set should just be pick whatever arms you want to do for whatever round. If there's eventually a stalemate where no one's picking arms because they're waiting for their opponent to pick one, the winner of the previous round should pick first. And if it's round number 1, the double line pick. But other than that, I feel like not too many people are going to enforce that. I feel like, especially in the early stages, people are just going to be picking the arms they want to pick.
Yeah, I agree.
Less so for like counter picking, unless it's like heavy for light or something.
Yeah,
I definitely will be. I'm using arms based on what character my opponent is playing and what the stage is. Not so much on what arms they're using.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. So it's like. Yeah, I mean, I do hope that people kind of keep up with that. I don't want to limit people's experimenting, adaptation of strategies going on through rounds. I think that's part of the kind of the depth that's there in terms of arms. And like even with the default arms, I think that's super great. I think especially with default arms, like we said before, if you're going to all the extra arms, I think that's where it gets really convoluted. But I think it's a very safe space where you have the default arms and you're able to go with the counterpicking selections there. I think that's cool. I think there's a lot of times they have those those mental battles and strategies, and people will go back and forth. I think there's going to be certain mix-ups that you're going to see from people too, depending on obviously like maybe they'll switch. Even kind of own little midi game when you see your opponent switching arms, like they're going to be doing this. Oh, maybe they're trying to be stay away from me. Maybe they're trying to do this. So almost kind of like a little mix-ups there too. Kind of like what you see
Super RPS.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes what you see people when they're doing like in say for example Street Fighter, where people will go back to stage character select screen, and sometimes they'll waver over some other character, right? And it's kind of like it'll suggest to people certain things. They'll try to like mix them up, and it's like it's a cool little thing. I think it's always been fun in fighting games. But I think that I'm all for being able to counterpick arms. So I do think that people will go with that moving forward. I think either A, you can just kind of do it whenever, and like you said, if there's a stalemate, then yes, I do think that we go ahead with the winner picking their arms first, then the loser, and we go from there and kind of continue following suit for that going through the set. So I think that's what I really want to see overall from that. Yeah. But I mean, it's there's so much. There's so much. I can talk to you forever about it, and we're gonna have a lot more talks about this.
For hours.
Yeah, man, without a doubt. And so, I want to do this a lot more. I think that there's a lot of people at home that want to see this a lot more as we kind of move forward and work on seeing where this game's going to go and where ARMS are going to take us. So it's like it's going to be exciting, man. It's really going to be exciting. Like I said, starting off, of course, July 8th through 9th, we're going to have ARMS Saga, and I think that's going to be a really big one for the community as a whole. And yeah, I'm excited to see where we're going to go from here. But anyways,
the game certainly has a bright future.
Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt, dude. Like Ibuki showed us the light. Like
he showed us the way.
Yes, dude, without a doubt, dude. He came from the pillars, man, from Mount Olympus to show us all. Like it's just so good. But like, thank you so much, Austy, for being out here. We always love hearing your expertise. Go ahead and let everyone know where they can find you at, man.
If you want to go to Twitter, on twitter.com, my profile is Austy La Vista. I also stream on twitch.tv/AustyLaVista. I stream every weeknight at 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm also a commentator, so I will be traveling to events such as ARMS Saga to commentate ARMS and Smash. And that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, man. I mean, definitely, guys, go ahead and show this man some love. He's just done a lot of incredible things. He's definitely one of the guys who really very studious, really trying to help.
Stop making me blush.
Hey, man, I got to tell the people how you are, man. You're a good man. I'm glad to have you on here. And like I said, I'm so excited to see what you're going to be doing in the future with everything, and definitely for ARMS as well. So, yeah, that's going to wrap it up, guys, for today. We're going to go on and follow our next segment. We're probably going to play some ARMS ourselves, check it out and see how that's going to be. But thank you so much for joining us. And most importantly, have yourselves a damn good day.